Yeah, so to get the initial thought was to get under the car and save it, but as you can see, so this is bad. That one's savable. That one's savable. This one questionable, but um, yeah. So another thing is because that stupid because that stupid filter had some particles that went through. I'm thinking there could be some more particles still in the engine. So obviously the oil pump, I'm gonna have to replace the oil pump, and this time I'm gonna buy OEM Hyundai oil pump because I have an aftermarket one, and I remember when I put it in, it was a piece of shit. So yeah, pull the engine, replace the oil pump, pull out the crank, pistons. Oh, the head gasket held, which is nice. So I'm gonna buy the same head gasket. Probably gonna take the crank to machine shop and just have him turn it, get the crank back, uh, put a little bit oversized, possibly oversized bearings, gauge everything. Here's the oil pan. That's pretty bad. And yeah, gauge everything, and as well, I have all the parts for the transmission, so I'll just rebuild the transmission at the same time. So anyway, 2024 is a year of the rebuild. Yeah, so it's whatever. It's live and learn. And so, long story short, what am I going to do next after I rebuild the engine? And this is something I wanted to talk about because I've been doing research on the oiling systems. So all the oil filters. That's not it. This is a piece of shit filter. Don't ever buy this. This is. I never use this. This is just some trash that I bought when I used to work for Lowe's. But like everybody knows probably that these filters have a bypass valve. So these bypass valves, like for example, it's kind of similar to like to this filter. It's spring loaded, right? And so when your engine is cold, this bypass valve possibly opens up a little bit because the oil is, especially like when like my car, I'm running like 1040. So when you have running thicker oil and it's cold, it's possible that this filter is not flowing enough when you're going above 1200 RPM. So what happens is this valve opens, right? And like in this filter, it goes to the second filter, but it has another bypass valve. My bad. So this second spring is a little bit. It's definitely has more pressure on it, but still, I don't know if this actually opens when the engine's cold and you are around, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 RPM. A lot of people just get in a car and drive. But my point is, if you have your own car, daily drive a car, make sure you're at least in operating temperature because you don't want to deal with this kind of shit. Well, you're probably not going to deal with this kind of shit unless you're like on a boosted vehicle like this with a turbo and you're pushing like 500 to 400 horsepower. But because the engine sees a lot of wear, so my recommendation on the regular car, once you get out, try not to hammer the car until it warms up. Just like drive normal. Once you see the gauge in the cluster go to operating temperature, then yeah, you're good. because you do not want this bypass valve to actually work, because on these filters I did some research. Not this filter, I'm talking about just regular filters, any OEM filters. I think a Hyundai filter has a pressure set at like 20. So like once your pressure goes above 20, and that's not the actual pressure in the system. Like I'm talking about the pressure that builds up in the filter because it's not being able to filter the elements, or I would say not be able to flow enough flow, and you build up 20 psi of pressure, let's say, and the bypass valve opens. That's it. You're basically not filtering anything. All that unfiltered oil will go through. So when I'm 100% sure, as far as I'm reading, uh, if the engine is cold and you're hammering on it, just remind yourself you literally hitting your car with unfiltered oil and reducing the life of your bearings. Now, in the OEM cars, the bearings have the softer material on them, so they can take some kind of like a chip, and like it will embed into the bearing itself. Like I know the Hondas do that. I don't have bearing on them, but the material has a soft coating, and like on the Hondas at least, they normally they can take a little bit of material, but on the racing engines they don't build them the same way. They build them because they want them to be harder. Actually, I have the bearing right here. Where's the bearing? Uh, this video is kind of shitty, but anyway. If you look at this is the bearing that I put in. This is a tri-coating bearing, but the first coating, it's like a soft coating that normally they put on the OEM engines, because in OEM engines they're not worried about the loads and stuff, like high horsepower loads I'm talking about. So they put different type of bearing that has a soft coating. It's kind of like feels like kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a rubber, kind of like rubbery coating. And like when you have something that gets through the hole, like some kind of particle, it gets embedded into the actual bearing, and it does not destroy the journal. But this is what happens. Prime example. This is what happens when a particle gets into the engine. It gets embedded into the crankshaft, and then it starts to roll all over the place. It starts to pick up more of the bearing material. The bearing starts to grenade itself. And like what happened to my car, this bearing literally, it got so hot that the caps, they changed the color. I'm going to show you the caps in the back. I already kind of worked on these, kind of machined them a little, cleaned them up, but you can see this is the one that was okay. This one was, see, it's kind of overheated. This one's kind of overheated, and this one's kind of like the color's different. See, yeah. So yeah, that's basically, yeah. I had to machine that one, but anyway, yeah. I don't know. It's a lot of shit that I'm talking about in here, but next time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this filter. I'm gonna modify it. I'm gonna take this thing off, and I'm gonna cap this off completely. I'm gonna get rid of the middle part where it can bypass itself. And then I'm gonna make a remote oil filter system where you have two filters. It's like sitting like this. And there's a bracket. You have two filters, and it's going to be mounted remotely. And the reason I want to do that is to increase the flow through the filters and possibly prevent any unfiltered oil actually going through the system. Uh, because I believe, honestly, when you going, especially with thicker oil, I still believe that some unfiltered oil goes through the engine, and because the bypass valve opens up. Because when you're using at least one filter, I don't believe it has enough. And there's no way to really like test it because people don't understand that when a bypass valve, like, I know there's people who try to put pressure sensors in the oil before and after and see the difference, but that makes no sense because once the bypass valve opens, the pressure is going to be equal before the filter and after the filter. So I don't know how they how they could even test that. So my theory is having two filters better than one, and I believe that the bypass valve opens when you floor it. Um, Especially like when you go to like 9,000 RPM and you have like 80 psi of oil pressure. I'm pretty sure these bypass valves open, and the oil, unfiltered oil, goes in. So this is why it's very important to make sure that you have clean oil in the car. And then at the same time, like when you're not changing oil and you have a very dirty oil filter, all that media is going to be blocked. And when that media blocks, the bottom valve, will be pretty much always open. And if this shit is open, guess what? The um, the engine is not filtering oil, and this is why it's important to change the oil every three, I don't know, at least 5,000 miles, right? I'm not gonna say that I'm perfect. I have a Honda. I probably didn't change oil like 20,000 miles. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Probably gonna bite myself in the ass eventually. But at least I should be personally. I should be changing at least the filter itself every 5,000 miles. If you're lazy and you don't want to change oil, at least change the filter every 5,000 miles. It's kind of stupid that I'm trying to teach somebody or tell somebody what to do properly when I'm not doing it properly. But I don't know. I just had a good history with Hondas, and I don't know. I honestly don't give a crap about the daily that I drive. But honestly, after getting into this issue and doing more research, I think I'm gonna start following the same thing, and I'm gonna definitely at least change the oil filter in a car or in a Honda, and I'm thinking doing that this weekend. But yep, that's the bad news. So the Tiburon is not going to be running for a while probably. Going to rebuild it, and obviously, if once I'm going to start fucking rebuilding it, I'm going to start coming up with stupid ideas of possibly moving the engine back or something. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how everything goes. Draining the water right now, all the oil. I'm probably going to weld a diff so that the transfer case, eliminate the transfer case in the back, make it two-wheel drive. Because I already know that I'm going to put that in the back. Oh, that's the fun part. So when the engine took shit, that's when I was standing and I'm like, man, if I had a Tesla motor in the back, I wouldn't have to call my friends to tow my car with the truck. I could have just like literally like put car neutral, bam, drive a Tesla and back home. I was like, damn, did. I wished I did this a long time ago. But I got stuck with the tuning engine and stuff. But I honestly I got I finally I took the classes Um, Now I've been trying to tune the engine. Oh, that's a good idea. I gotta cancel my subscription. It's $50 that I'm paying for Evans Academy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cancel that because now I'm screwed. But yeah, rebuilding the engine, rebuilding the transmission, putting everything back together, upgrading the oil system. Probably going to mount oil, remote oil somewhere over here. Two filters in here, and yeah, go from there. Possibly then work on the bumper and all that good stuff. I really wish I now how could have I prevented this? How could I prevented this? When I fucked up that turbo, I should have changed the oil. And you know what's funny? Because I actually bought the oil and never changed it. I should have changed the oil, took the housing off right here, and at least like inspect if there's anything. I don't know. Maybe I had particles in there, and if I would have had particles in there, maybe I would at least try to open up the oil pan and see how the bad bearings are. Maybe they were fine. Maybe they were fine, and this piece failed. Like I said, let the particles in, and it basically eventually cremated itself. That could be too. So I gotta say that buying oil filters is very, very critical. You gotta know what you're buying. I would recommend going with OEM. Don't go in stores and buy them Mobil One and all the shitty ass filters or this piece of shit right here. This is garbage. I never use. I think I bought this like 10 years ago when it was on discount. I never used the shit. It's fucking garbage. So I know I don't have it here on me, but I think like this Densa, that's a good filter. Densa, OEM Hyundai, that's a good filter. I have like 10 of those. I don't know where they're at, but I have 10 of those OEM Hyundai filters. They're good filters. They have bypass valves set at like 20 psi, so they're very safe. And yeah, and there's the bottom piece for the the oil pan. But anyway, depressing, sucks. It is what it is. Video is long. Shit sucks. Sucks. Is a word that I wanna say. Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna drain everything, and I'm gonna tell you one thing. This engine rocks. It's freaking fast. It's holy crap. Yeah. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But sometimes you make mistakes. Even I, doing all the research, reading and stuff, and building. I think I probably rebuilt this engine like third time. Different issues, different problems, different mistakes. Mistakes. You live and learn, and this is how you get better as you age. Yeah, it's life. It happens. I'm not really. I'm disappointed, but it's not like it's the end of the world. It can be fixed. It can be improved. It can be better. You know what's funny? They actually drained the oil, transmission oil, and it was clean. It was really clean. I was like, holy crap, that's impressive. But I will come back to this car in a month or two. We'll see what happens. Gonna pull the engine slowly, nicely, take my pace. Probably take the front away here completely and pull the motor out and yeah, start working with it. and keep improving, keep making things better. Um, mm, there's no rush, but yeah. So that's probably going to be the beginning of my rebuild, and then you're gonna probably see me posting pictures and making maybe a few more videos of things I find and don't find, things that I decided to fix or improve or change. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now today. And oh shit, what is this? Mm, aluminum. Yeah, that's nothing. Probably need to flush the system too. But anyway. Yeah, that sucks. But whatever. We'll fix it. Not a big deal. I've done it before, so we'll take it apart. Full transmission, pull the engine, put the engine on the stand, flip it over. I probably wouldn't actually take the head off. And just do it that way. Normally, I take the head off, and then the engine becomes smaller, and you can just pull it out without, you know, any interference. And you know, it's funny. I did the compression test. I had 170, 175, 170, 175, and 175. But yeah, uh, compressor was perfect. And the way I found out that something is really fucked up. Um, so basically, I didn't mention that, but when I was flooring it, I floored it to 8600. And when I floored it, I changed the gears, and when I changed the gears, the engine died. So that when the engine died, that's actually very interesting. So we floor it to 8500. I think I was in the second or third gear. Push the clutch, the engine dies. Okay, I'm like doing 70, 80 miles an hour at that point. I'm like looking at my RPM. I'm like, okay, what? Yeah. So what happened? 8600. The bearing seized up. He hugged the cap because the way you see how it got damaged. He hugged the cap. It seized up the engine, and that's the time I fucked up. If your engine stops, don't try to put it in gear and make it roll. I should have pulled over and stopped and just like leave it. Maybe there would be less damage. I don't know. Maybe it would be a lot more savable without pulling the engine. You never know. But here's the mistake I did. I put it in the fifth. I grind the fifth a little. Put it in the fifth. The RPMs went back, but when I was driving it, I lost all the vacuum. My vacuum was at zero. And as soon as I would hit the gas, pretty much, it would go into the boost. The engine was overloaded. When the engine was overloaded, it had no vacuum to build up because the computer adjusted to the load, so it was throwing more fuel. When it threw more fuel, the turbo was spinning faster. When the turbo spins faster, it gives pressure, no vacuum. So I drove probably for about half a mile, and then I realized I'm like losing power. And when I start losing a lot more power, that's when I was like, "Oh crap! Yep, something's going on." First, I thought I blew the head gasket, but no, that wasn't the problem. And then I pulled over. I stopped, and the funny thing is, it didn't knock the whole time. Now, when the engine cooled down, and I started the engine, it started knocking, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So when the engine cooled down, everything, the expansion, when it cooled down, everything contracted. When everything contracted, it made more space where it was just barely kissing the head. Now I thought I was bending valves and all that crap. So when we took the car home, I took um, I took the the spark plug is out, and I put the camera in. I don't know where it's at, but anyway, no matter. When I put the camera in, I didn't see any damage. So I'm like, okay, so what is that noise? I took the valve cover off. Didn't see anything bad in there either. I thought maybe the rocker arms came off or something because I over revved it or something. I don't know. So anyway, then I started thinking that maybe I jumped the timing, and I checked the timing, and timing never jumped. It was perfect. I would be surprised if it jumped timing. So the timing didn't jump. So at this point, it's like the timing didn't jump. The pistons are okay. Then oh yeah, then I did the compression test. The compression test was perfect. I'm like, what the hell happened? And then I realized, I'm like, shit, it's the bearings. I'm like, crap, it's the bearings. And I'm like, yeah, it probably was happening when the engines that was idling. It was hitting the head. So possibly kiss the head a little bit. Might have to take the head and machine it a little, and I probably will just hone the engine block. I will take out the pistons, fix them up, resurface them, and apply new coating. I actually wonder how my previous coating worked, and I will show you later. I actually bought a spray-on coating from Ceramic Coat, and you can spray a special coating on the side of the pistons. It works like the one you get from OM. Protect the coating for the cylinders. Anyway, I will show you that later. I will check the rods, make sure they're all the same length, nothing happened. I will make sure the holes are not over round or anything like that. They're perfect. And I will take the crank. Obviously, the crank is fucked, so I'm gonna take the crank to the machine shop, have him turn it, have him make them all the same size, so I can put all the bearings, and so that there won't be any differential pressure in the bearings on the actual rod bearings. The one thing I'm really curious about right now, and I'm probably going to do that later. Well, actually, maybe not. Maybe I'll do that when I pull the engine, because I want to take out the head and then pull out the block with the transmission together, because it's a lot easier that way. But if I would take out the girdle from the bottom, if I take the belt, the crank's gonna sag or come off. Don't want that to happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I might buy a stand and for the phone or something, or make a video how I'm building the engine, and something like that. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of lazy doing these videos. I don't know. These bloggers do the videos, and I don't know. It's not me. That's why I never did it. Really, I did some little bit of videos, but normally when I work on something, I don't want to be disturbed. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't know. I don't believe that those people who work on the engine, like I think like when you film something, it takes like twice as long, and like you have to reset a camera and all that. I'm like, oh my god, like there's no way you're actually doing this in a timely, normal manner without a disturbance. But anyway, yeah, I'll be documenting basically probably everything again. See what else I find that fucked up, learn from that, improve, change. And definitely one thing I will do is I will not buy aftermarket oil pump for the car. I mean, we'll see how bad it is, but obviously, if all that shit went through the oil pump, because that's how the engines are, everything goes to the pickup tube, it filters out through this. This I need to clean a little more because there's still particles in there, right there. See, so that has to be cleaned thoroughly, thoroughly. Um, then it goes to the pump. Then there's gears. Those gears obviously sucked in all this shit. Probably fucked up the bearings in the pump itself. And if I'm flooring this thing, they're like 99,000 RPM. I want pump to be in pristine shape, and I think that I'm gonna go with the OEM pump, and yeah, just go with the OEM Hyundai oil pump and toss the aftermarket one. Even though aftermarket one looked like a little bit better. And the reason for that is because the aftermarket one, I'll show you later, but the aftermarket one has some shitty ass bolts, and they were not like, I don't know, they were like offset. But anyway, well, I'm gonna wrap up over here. A lot of shit I talked about, mm, a lot of thoughts going through my mind. Um, yeah, live and learn, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna take 2 videos and combine them, and possibly just post it on YouTube. And yeah, I know it hasn't been a while since I posted, so we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, thanks for watching.